everybody. Figure it's time for an update on the Ceton InfiniTV4 tuner card. As you can see, it's sitting here on my table. And when it's sitting on the table and not inside the computer, it's generally not a very good sign, is it? Okay, here's my background with this tuner. Just in case some of you guys may never see my videos regarding the InfiniTV. I've had this thing for roughly a year and a half, and I must say it's been a hit or miss experience. When it works like it's supposed to, it works great. I mean, it's fabulous. For the simple fact that it replaces up to 4 set-top boxes, or better yet, up to 4 DVR set-top boxes, because you have DVR functionality with Windows Media Center. So with Time Warner Cable, when you're replacing regular set-top boxes, you're saving roughly $10 to $15 per box per month. So definitely a good value. And also nowadays with Time Warner Cable, you're also saving additional outlet fees that they like to charge. So anyways, let's look at the tuner. And I've had the Ceton product, as I mentioned, since spring 2013. And let's go ahead and just go through the issues I've had. Now I just mentioned that when it works like it's supposed to, it works fabulous, but let's talk about the issues we've had with the InfiniTV4. And we can do this by looking at the Ceton RMA tickets that I've submitted. The first one was in July 2013, roughly 3 to 4 months after purchasing the product. I was unable to update the firmware on the device. It seems like what had happened was, sometime back when I installed the beta firmware from the Ceton Diagnostics tool, and there was a new firmware release available, and I think I was either trying to update the firmware, or I was actually updating it to resolve an issue I was having with probably subscription required errors. So anyways, yeah, they would not accept the firmware update whatsoever. It would get stuck on stage 3 of 8, the unpacking stage, and it just would not take it at all. So Ceton said that your device is defective and needs to be replaced. So there goes the first RMA. So that device has been this is my first one. It was sent back to Ceton, and they quote unquote repaired it and sent it back to me. All they really did, I'm sure, was manually force the firmware update to the device. So they sent that one back to me. And from July 2013 through April 10th, 2014, I didn't have any major issues. In early April 2014, which is this year, the Ceton InfiniTV4 started losing pairing info with the cable card. So basically, after every system restart or shutdown, I'd have to call Time Warner Cable and had them reauthorize the cable card again, and which was, is not the way things are supposed to work. It should not lose pairing info. So basically, in technical terms, it would lose all the EMMs processed. It wouldn't process any EMMs, and it would be stuck on waiting for CPU authorization, and it would never get authorized. So you would get subscription required errors on any channel above channel, I think, 23. Even like the weather channel, it would say subscription required. So yeah, back to Ceton again, and this time I demanded they send me a different card back. So they sent me this one, this refurbished card. And from April 2014 until, let's see, actually, they sent me this one back, and less than 2 weeks later, 2 weeks later or so, I was getting intermittent subscription required errors on certain channels. And I think I may have done a YouTube video about this, I'm not exactly sure. Basically what would happen is, on certain channels that were subscribed to, if I tried to tune up to that channel, it would get subscription required. But if I tuned down to that channel from a higher channel, it would work. Whereas a channel about 6 channels up, if I tuned up to that channel, it would tune successfully. However, if I tuned down to that channel from a higher channel, it would say subscription required. So that required firmware update, which Ceton sent me over email. And I applied it, and it was pretty much smooth sailing from April until December. Basically, well, actually November. to be honest with you. I started having issues in November with this card. Trying to remember exactly how this happened. I was doing some rearranging in here, and the cable line got unplugged from the computer. Next thing I know, TV's not working at all, which obviously you think, oh, you just need to plug the cable line back in, but plugged it in, and I noticed that my tuner was stuck in cable card upgrade in progress, SC0X0000001, and it would be there, and it would just sit there for roughly an hour. No card applications, cannot watch channels, not even locals. There it sits, just waiting on it to do this firmware upgrade to the cable card. Now thinking, oh, maybe Time Warner was just releasing the firmware upgrade, which from what I understand they did around this time. But according to Time Warner Cable, there was some issues with certain Ceton products not accepting the firmware. Well, it's not accepting the firmware, it's just not getting along too well. Because basically, after every restart, it would go into firmware upgrade again. Yeah, after every single restart, it would go into say cable card upgrade in progress, SC0X0000001, and there it would sit for an hour or so. Now after that time period, the cable card would come back to life, and you could use a tuner. You could watch both local and premium channels, no problem. I figured, oh, maybe it's just an issue with the cable card. So I went to Time Warner Cable, swapped cable cards, and the issues got worse from there. So basically, I was on the phone with Time Warner Cable's cable card support line, and got the new cable card paired up with the tuner. That was after waiting on it to get out of firmware upgrade, which took over an hour. After it was out of firmware upgrade, I was able to get the card paired. Now, funny to note, from this point on, after system restarts, it would no longer say upgrade in progress, SC0000001. But, again, it will lose pairing information. So, back to the issue we was dealing with back in April. Losing pairing info after every restart. Now, before I got my new cable card paired with the device, Ceton, I opened this ticket here with Ceton, and they sent me a firmware upgrade. Now, mind you, they sent me a beta firmware back in April about subscription required errors. And and the funny thing to note was, I had the same issue that I had back in July 2013. When updating the firmware, it would get stuck at stage 3 of 8, unpacking. Yeah, it would get stuck at stage 3 of 8. It would not unpack the firmware, it would not install it. So yeah, recurring issues with another card. Does that sound like bad quality control to me? Yeah, it kind of does. Yeah. So we're dealing with a card that would not take a firmware upgrade, and it would lose pairing info after system restarts. And I noticed that one of my TV boxes, one of my home theater computers, would not get along with this thing. It would lose connection with it even after restarts. It would just keep saying viewing or listening conflict, and it was just a real mess, real big mess. So I explained to Ceton that hey, my tuner is no longer in warranty. This is after I told him it wouldn't accept the firmware upgrade, and I sent them to diagnostic. They basically, I told them, they basically told me that, same, like it's like a broken record. Your product's going to be RMA because it's defective. So I mentioned to them that, hey, my tuner is already out of warranty. Is there not a way I can brute force this firmware upgrade? And I mentioned, that I had these recurring issues prior. So here's the fun part. As you can see, I've had a tough record with Ceton's InfiniTV4 PCIe. I mean, when it works, it's great, but I've had so many issues with it. So you're thinking, maybe you should avoid Ceton products? Not necessarily. They have discontinued the InfiniTV4, probably for good reason. Probably because they had so many issues with it. Most definitely, they had many issues with it. So, now, let me go and talk about Ceton's customer service in regards to my experience with them. Now, generally, I haven't had any major issues with their customer service, they generally have decent support. Now, of course, it's late at night, so I'm sorry if my video isn't the best quality. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, hide my address. Anyways, this is the first issue where I explained where the firmware update was failing at stage 3 of 8, and they mentioned, you know, I need to send them a diagnostics file. So I pulled a diagnostic using the Ceton Diagnostics utility and sent it to them, and they immediately realized that my card was defective, and they had me send it back to them. So anyways, that's all to that ticket. So let me go look at the next one. The next one is the first card when it started losing pairing info with the cable card. Scroll to the bottom. Now this technician, I'm not really sure about, because the issue at hand here was not network connectivity issues. It was cable card pairing issues. But anyways, here's where I explain my issue. You know, I mentioned that I was, you know, getting subscription required errors, and I had went through multiple cable cards and this, you know, trying different cable cards to see maybe if it was something like that. Me and Time Warner Cable's cable card support were constantly trying to figure this out. And from their end, it seemed like my device was not holding the pairing info, because basically after every system restart or shutdown, my cable card would behave as if I just brought it home from the Time Warner Cable office and hadn't paired it yet. So anyways, after I sent them the diagnostic file, they wanted me to test something on my InfiniTV. They wanted me to look through all my network settings and wanted me to apply, you know, drivers, which is understandable. Drivers is understandable, but hotfixes to media center and stuff like that, don't really understand why they want me to do that, because it had nothing to do with the issue at hand. The issue at hand was the device was not keeping track of pairing info with the cable card. That's internal to the Ceton card. That has nothing to do with the network. So scroll up a little bit. And as my background in computer repair, I already knew this. You know, the technician was going off track by having me look at network settings, when cable card pairing has nothing to do with the network settings of the computer. The Ceton was communicating just fine with all the home theater computers. That wasn't an issue. So I was pretty firm, and I stated that. So I went up a little bit more here, and wanting me to go through networking a bit more. And then after they looked at the diagnostic again, they transferred me to the RMA department. And this time, let me see if I can look up here. Yep, the sales receipt was from April 1st, 2013. This is when the car was just a slight bit out of warranty. Which, you know, I mentioned this would be the second time I had to return this device. And I said I prefer that the device be replaced this time and not, quote-unquote, fixed. So anyways, scroll up. There's the end of that. Let's look at the next ticket. This was just simply a firmware issue with the device. Now in this one, the Time Warner techs were kind of thinking it was my tuning adapter. Tuning adapter was not the issue. So there was a lot of exchanging chats in this one. And they, again, look at this. It's like a repeating record. Hot fixes. Yeah, hot fixes. That had nothing to do with the issue. Scroll up a bit more. Yeah, you know, and this time I did complete the steps and install the hotfix and things like that, and updated my drivers. But of course, it did not solve the issue. So they finally sent me a firmware update. No, this is one replaced the cable card, so it had the same errors, different cable card but same issues. And I had already explained about this a little bit earlier. So they eventually they sent me a firmware upgrade, and all was good. Now with the most recent one, Scroll down. I said every time I reboot my computer, the cable card goes into firmware upgrade. And I had already explained about this earlier, so you kind of know what's going on already. So Ceton immediately had a firmware update for me. So I tried the firmware update, and that didn't work. It got stuck on stage 3 of 8. Unpacking. And basically I sent them a diagnostic right afterwards, and they want me to send the device back. Which, this was after I had called Time Warner Cable and had them pair my cable card that I had just received. This was right after the firmware update was done and it stopped recurring with a different cable card. And this is when the device started losing pairing info. And I mentioned that, you know, after a new cable card was paired with the device, it no longer goes into upgrade after it restarts. So basically, what Ceton has done, after I mentioned, you know, all the issues that I've had over the past year and a half of owning my InfiniTV4, they have opted to send me a refurbished InfiniTV6, the 6-tuner device. There it is in the Tower Deluxe. I did an advance RMA, by the way, so I gotta send this one back. I gotta get it back really soon. That's why I'm doing this video late at night. I had to get this video done. So anyways, as you can see, Ceton's customer support is, for the most part, very good. I can't really complain about them at all. So basically, you know, after the frustration I've had with this one, with the InfiniTV4, they sent me a 6-tuner version. And I must say, it's working fabulous. No problems at all. You know, it's, you know, as soon as I got my cable card paired with it and got this thing on the network and had the other computers connected to it, other than maybe a weak signal here and there because it is a 6-tuner split rather than a 4, I have not had any issues with this one. Now, it's only been in there for about 3 or 4 days, but it's been running flawlessly great. You know, no issues at all. So anyways, I know it's kind of a drug out video. Then again, it is about 1:30 in the morning. I'm really tired, ready to go to bed, but I want to do this video right quick for you guys before I send this tuner back to Ceton. So anyways, there is a brief update on the Ceton InfiniTV4. And some of you guys, I may have accidentally talked out of buying a Ceton product. I would, you know, personally, I wouldn't recommend the InfiniTV4 experience, you know, after all the issues I've had with it. You know, Ceton has discontinued this device. You can't buy it new on Newegg anymore. Basically, the InfiniTV6 has come way down in price. You can buy it brand new for like $180, which is, you know, kind of steep for some people, but for 6 tuners, it's a good deal. This thing would easily, you know, think about this. The InfiniTV6 can replace up to 6 set-top boxes, 6 cable boxes. not like you know, some people may have that many boxes, but a lot of people don't. But the neat thing here is you can allocate multiple tuners to a single computer. And I must say, Ceton does have good technical support, and they do have. I would say the InfiniTV6, I don't know too much about it yet. Like I mentioned, I just got it not long ago, but I'll keep you guys up to date on this thing, so let you know how it does. So anyways, any questions or comments? Feel free to ask them. Thanks for watching. And we'll end this video with this stink bug up on my ceiling. Just out of nowhere, there he is. Stink bug. Hate those things.